So I was a kid who grew up online, and I basically spent every waking moment installing and playing MMOs or massively multiplayer online games. When I wasn't playing them, I was scouring MMO websites and listicles for games that caught my eye, from popular bustling virtual worlds to obscure and virtually dead games that had been running on fumes for years. Of the many varied and sometimes strange games that I played, a few have stuck in my mind, namely a game called SuperSecret that I played as a tween. Every few years I vaguely remember this game and then go to Google it to find out more, and there's virtually no information about it at all, which then leads me to wonder, did this game even ever exist? Was it some sort of bizarre fever dream that I conjured up in my tweenage mind? Today I present to you a pointless deep dive into an obscure tween MMO from the 2010s that I used to play sometimes. Thrilling stuff. Before we jump into things, I just want to give a huge thank you to Casetify for sponsoring this video. As you all probably know by now, Casetify makes phone cases and tech accessories, but not just any phone cases and tech accessories, the best phone cases and tech accessories. Casetify cases are super cool and customizable. There are thousands of designs to suit all styles and aesthetics, as well as super fun phone straps and charms to match. I got a custom Izzy's case with these amazing purple chrome edges, and my personal favorite, this pink heart dolphin case with blue edges. I love them so much, I'm adding them to my collection of phone cases. I really like to switch it up and kind of change depending on the vibe or the outfit to kind of like match everything, but these are just a tiny taste of the endless design and customization options. Not only are Casetify cases stylish, but they're super strong. They have 21.3 feet drop protection and have been test dropped 134 times. In fact, I'll give you a test drop right here, right now. I'm actually at a new location, so I don't have my giant wooden wardrobe to throw these things into anymore, but I do have some IKEA shelves, so they will have to suffice. Fly high, angel. That nearly took out one of my Monster High dolls. I'm so sorry, Honey Swamp. But as you can see, there is not a scratch in sight. The phone case is completely intact, the sides are intact, the case is intact, the screen is intact, because Casetify cases are very strong. Casetify's cases are also super sustainable. With Re/Casetify, cases are 65% recycled, with 51,000 cases recycled so far. So head to casetify.com/Izzy's for 15% off your order of some epic Casetify swag. A huge thank you to Casetify for sponsoring this video, and now let's get into the mystery of SuperSecret. Your first question might be, why do you even care about this random ass decade-old MMO? And the answer is, I don't know, I just like going down pointless rabbit holes that literally no one cares about except me. Sue me. So SuperSecret, originally known as SuperSecret.com, started out as a 2D massively multiplayer online virtual world for kids and tweens. I say started out because it actually had a second phase / reboot, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. The game was in the works as early as 2007 and was created by a company simply known as SuperSecret, whose sole purpose was to develop and release the game. This was during the huge teens and tweens virtual world boom of the late 2010s, so everyone was trying to cash in on the craze. SuperSecret's gimmick was that you started out as a 10-year-old kid, and by playing the game and completing tasks and maybe even spending a bit of mummy's hard-earned cash on microtransactions, you could earn age points and spenders. Age points are basically what they say on the tin. The more points you accumulate, the closer you get to aging up. And spenders were essentially just in-game cash that you could use to buy new outfits and decorations for your room. There's a little showcase of all the different room possibilities in one of the official SuperSecret trailers, and can I just say, literally none of these look appealing. The text on the 2009 site's about page reads, "The more you play, the older your character gets until you're a teenager with a pet, an apartment, and access to really cool hangouts. That means lots of SuperSecret birthdays, far more than just the usual one a year. Every time you visit, there'll be friends waiting to play and new things to be discovered. You can even play pranks on people if you're that sort of person, and we think maybe you are. SuperSecret, like life, but way more fun." Nice job, guys. Very epic. From a 2009 VentureBeat article about the game, quote, "With age comes comes privileges. At 15, for instance, you can get a bank account. At 16, you can drive around the virtual world in a car. At 18, you can vote. The idea is to give 10-year-olds who aspire to be older than they are a taste of what it's like to be older. Does it work? So far, the San Francisco company has had great success since its quiet beta launch in January. There are now 150,000 registered users, all from word of mouth. On average, they play 55 minutes a session. Okay, casuals. I love how hilariously unbalanced the rewards for leveling up are. Like at 11 you get to start collecting cool pets, at 16 you get a sick ass car to drive around in, and then at 18 you get to vote. I'm getting flashbacks to the Republic of Bimbo Land again. I'm not saying voting's not important, I'm saying that as a 10-year-old a new whip is a lot more appealing than getting to have your say in governmental elections. Of course, this being a virtual world for kids, there was a pretty steep paywall. As a non-member, you could only reach age 12 before you'd have to buy a membership to reach the higher levels or access any of the actual fun content. Visually, the game had a very, how do you put it, child-friendly look, which makes total sense given the demographic, but the art is very plain and polished and nice. Actually, it kind of gives me Pixie Hollow vibes, just with the style of the background and the character models kind of clashing a little bit. Though the backgrounds were all just static 2D illustrations, the world of SuperSecret was pretty expansive, as you can see from this map here. You got all the popular teen hangouts, the hub, the beach, the quad, the quarry, the forest, you know, hanging out in the woods as teens do. Actually, now that I think about it, I think teens do that. I think I was just a really lame teenager who didn't go anywhere. From a Wired article about SuperSecret and the development behind it, one mysterious quote reads, Tony Espinoza, the co-founder of SuperSecret, said that his research with kids found that they craved social interaction with their peers, but sometimes found it difficult to keep conversations going. What SuperSecret does is provide context for their interaction, he said. They have something to talk about. I don't know what it means either. Literally the vaguest, most nothing statement ever. Aside from walking around the virtual world and chatting to other tweens and teens, players could play a wide variety of games, pretty much all of which were third-party games taken from game portal sites like agame.com, so there was a lot of stuff like Bloons and Fancy Pants Adventures and all the low-budget flash games you could ask for. While SuperSecret's player base was pretty small and niche, they were very dedicated and absolutely loved the game despite the relatively low quality and pretty dire paywalling, which, as a side note, was actually probably necessary since, according to that VentureBeat article from earlier, in their first round of funding, SuperSecret raised $10 million to build the virtual world, which sounds like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, $10 million is actually a pretty small budget for a virtual world or MMO of any kind, so no wonder they were panhandling for kids' money to keep things afloat. Anyway, for a lot of kids and tweens, this was their weird little corner of the internet. But then, in 2011, disaster struck and this little slice of MMO paradise was killed. So let's talk about... So as we've established, SuperSecret was created by the company SuperSecret, and after raising over $10 million for their game and accruing a niche but extremely dedicated player base, it seemed that everything was coming up Milhouse. But that was not the case. In 2011, SuperSecret was acquired by Jumpstart, who frequent watchers of the channel will remember as the current extremely controversial owners of Neopets. Aside from that, they're mainly known for preschool and primary school level educational games and virtual worlds for young kids, and also DreamWorks School of Dragons for some reason. If any company were to acquire SuperSecret, a game literally revolving around growing up and themes of learning new things and responsibilities, the very educational and wholesome Jumpstart seems like the perfect candidate. But instead of just acquiring the game and adding it to their roster of other tween-focused games and educational experiences, they instead made the decision to overhaul the entire game, transforming it from a 2D virtual world experience into a 3D Unity MMO, with a very different aesthetic. Rather than the rustic, good old-fashioned vibes of the original game, the new SuperSecret was far more modernized. From an early blog entry on the official SuperSecret blog, quote, "After creating a character, visit the plaza to shop for the latest fashions, hop in a sporty convertible and cruise down Rodeo Drive, or stop by the SuperSecret Club for a dance party." The new SuperSecret was cool and trendy and hip, and the players absolutely hated it. Multiple petitions were launched disparaging Jumpstart and insulting the new game, begging them to bring back the old SuperSecret. The official blog's comment section was swamped with angry players disappointed by SuperSecret 2.0 and asking the developers to change it back. Totally missing the old version like crazy. My friends are quitting, I cancelled my membership, please, 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 please bring back the old one or put both of them up. It's an awesome idea, and the bits of both world at least think about a lot of people miss the old version. Hope you listen to my idea, it might work, and if not, at least I tried. Miss the old version. I hate the new SuperSecret, everyone does. I even named my email after it, but I hate the new one and I'm telling everyone to cancel their membership. They are listening to me. Hi, I really liked the old SuperSecret, but I don't really like the new 3D version. Sad face. Why can't you make like 2 websites, one for the new one and one for the old one? I think the new SuperSecret is quite boring, there's nothing much to do. And you can't solve mysteries or anything. I really liked the old one better and you can do way more stuff. I really like this one because Jumpstart replied to basically all the comments apologizing that they didn't like the game and asking for feedback, but with this one they'd clearly had enough and kinda just snapped. Hi Alicia, and thanks for playing SuperSecret. Like we've announced countless times before, we appreciate your comments and feedback. Regarding the old game though, we have no plans on bringing it back and your comments are not helpful. We are more than happy to take some suggestions that you might have for the new 3D world though to provide you and players the game that you want. Thank you and take care. Passive-aggressive legends. Also, side note, I love this blog because they were always posting screenshots of Pinterest boards with completely random blog updates, like this 4th of July celebration post with a Pinterest fashion board accompanying it, or this blog update about New Year's resolutions that just has a bunch of nail inspo and very 2014 outfits, or even just this stock promotional image with Happy Father's Day slapped on top. I don't know why, this is just extremely funny to me. So what exactly was the new and improved SuperSecret like? This is the version that I remember playing a decent amount of as a kid, and speaking from experience, not that great. Not to sound cruel, but it was a pretty ugly looking game with super rudimentary character models despite fashion and dressing up being one of the main advertised appeals of the game. Unsurprisingly, the outfits were pretty lame too, though to give them credit they did do outfit design contests where they'd put kids' original clothing design ideas into the game, which is pretty neat to be fair. The levels and layout of the world itself was ugly too, with random out of place items cluttering the surroundings and garish signs and buildings taking up the whole screen. A lot of the footage for this video I had to dig up from kids' old Screencast-O-Matic recordings, so the frame rate doesn't look great, but trust me when I tell you that it wasn't that much better in the actual game. Aside from dressing up your avatar or shopping at Madame Wu's pet shop, which showed all sorts of pastel furry abominations, you could play a variety of minigames, most of which included riding or flying a vehicle of some kind for some reason. There was an area where you could hatch and raise baby dragons until they were full grown and you could fly them around, which was obviously very up my alley since the 100% science-based dragon MMO hadn't come out at that time. There was a level where you could drive a car around, there was a terrible looking roller coaster level where basically all you could do was change the camera angle and speed of the coaster, and then there was the very not subtly Harry Potter themed world where you could ride around on a broom, again one of my personal favorites because I was an absolute fiend for any game that had flying mechanics. Though to be honest, these weren't exactly the most refined or, well, fun flying mechanics ever made, and keep in mind that a lot of this content was locked behind paywalls. So why exactly did SuperSecret make the pivot from a genuinely unique and pretty wholesome virtual world for kids to a cheap Unity mess with dance clubs and racing cars? It seems so incredibly strange that this transformation took place under the watchful guise of Jumpstart, a company which was very wholesome and family friendly and about preschool education. SuperSecret was like the shady underbelly of their catalog, but why? In the forum blog post, they kept replying to outraged players by saying that they simply couldn't bring the old game back without ever explicitly explaining why, but I think the reason is pretty simple. Jumpstart was clearly seeing the shift in popularity from wholesome 2D kids virtual worlds to MMOs and 3D virtual worlds with more modern technology and in some cases edgier content. It's a simple matter of money. Jumpstart saw the original property as essentially just a free player base, crafted a pretty rudimentary and basic game from the ground up with a ton of microtransactions and paywalls to replace the old version, and voila. You have one really weird niche game that pretty much everyone hated but still played for some reason, including me. I ate that shit up because when it came to MMOs, I was absolutely not concerned with quality or even fun. I just kind of compulsively played them. Yes, I was normal, please stop asking. Also, I say crafted from the ground up, but surprise twist, the new SuperSecret was basically just a reskin of one of Jumpstart's previously existing MMO titles, The World of Jumpstart. Comparing footage of the two, the rudimentary Unity level style and character design are pretty similar, and areas and games are just directly copy and pasted from one game game to another. The flight deck launchpad gliding area, the pet system, and the dragon raising system are just a few virtually identical elements, and players absolutely took notice. SuperSecret was basically just a weird hip tween girl nightlife reskin of the world of Jumpstart, and at this point it was just salt in the wound. It's actually incredibly hard to pinpoint exactly when SuperSecret shut down, since as far as I can tell there was no official announcement, at least none that I can find online. But from context clues we can tell that SuperSecret probably died somewhere in the late 2010s. Perhaps in 2017 when the announcement was made that in a couple years, in 2020, Flash Player would be shutting down, which was a key element of SuperSecret. Exactly when the servers were shut down is unknown, but the launch page remained up and obsolete for many years. The website was all up and running, but the splash page simply read, "This content requires Flash and JavaScript enabled," and refused to load. Looking at the Wayback Machine, it appears that it stayed in this broken state for many years until this year, 2022, when it began to instead redirect to the Jumpstart website. And that's the underwhelming story of how SuperSecret shut down. Not with a bang, not even with a whisper, just with nothing at all. Not a single peep. These days SuperSecret is pretty true to its name. No one really knows about it or remembers it at all. It left basically no legacy, no wikis, no fan blogs, barely any YouTube videos aside from low quality recordings. Even the original site itself just remained a broken and barely functional page for several years before eventually just redirecting to the Jumpstart website. By looking up supersecret.com, I was able to find a scant few Twitter users who still fondly remembered the old site, but nothing about the newer version and its strange, obscure legacy. It's just one example of many strange, forgotten games that have been lost to time. Obscure tween virtual worlds, small MMOs with tiny but dedicated fan bases keeping them afloat, gimmicky games trying to cash in on trends and only lasting a few years or even months. MMOs and virtual worlds have always fascinated me, and the more obscure and esoteric side of things has also really taken my interest. Which is why I wanted to cover SuperSecret, because I feel like I'm the only one that remembers this game and I don't want to feel crazy anymore. If any of you remember supersecret.com or the newer SuperSecret, please do share. I don't want to feel alone in this. I'm sure that there were plenty of players out there, and if you did play it, I really want to hear your experiences. What did you think of the game? What are your memories? Did you think it was as bad as I've made it out to be in this video? And also, if you have any ideas for other obscure MMOs that you want me to talk about or cover in the future, definitely let me know. Like I've said in a bunch of videos, I played a lot of these things, a lot of very obscure, weird ones, a lot of ones that were not very high quality, and I kind of want to talk about them just because it's kind of pointless because there's nothing really that interesting about them, but I find them interesting. Like, I just find talking about these weird little niche virtual worlds fascinating. What can I say? Well, what can I say? Nothing, clearly. Anyway, you get what I mean. I really like covering this stuff, so definitely let me know if you have any suggestions, or just any suggestions in general for future videos. And yeah, please do share your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I really hope to see you in the next one. Bye! A huge thank you to my Garfield overlords over on Patreon: Megan McQuiver, Hazy, David Martinez, Jojo B. Chavez, Oliver Brains, Blue Mayfeld, Katrina Likes 5e Stuff, Fitzy, Michelle Olsen, Strawberries, Matt LRJ, A Riddle Wrapped in an Enigma Hidden by a Question Mark, SHSL Sunsun, Doug, Dana Homegardener, Charlie B, Simon, Ren Pendragon, Xavier Arajo, Helm Hamburger Hand, Dozo Blind, Sheriff Whiskey, The Fabulous Librarian, Astrian Vortex, Jesse Chisholm, Lee XX, Greg Gunderson, and Joe Bradshaw. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, it means the world. If you want to join these guys over on Patreon, the link will be in the description. And yeah, thank you so much for watching and supporting and everything. It really means the world. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye!